you understand English pretty well, but when it comes to speaking, you'll still struggle. Despite the 8, 9, 10 years of classes you had in school, and the thousands of hours of YouTube videos you watched, and you've even read books maybe, and you listen to podcasts, music, films, Netflix, whatever, you understand everything, but you still can't speak well. You struggle to form sentences, you make lots of mistakes, your accent is a disaster, and you simply are too shy to try to speak. It's just too embarrassing, because everyone will think that your English sucks. Is that your case? If it is, I've got some good news for you. You can fix this pretty fast if you follow my advice. The problem with English classes, language classes in general, is that they focus on all the wrong things. That's because there's very little speaking in language classes, for the most part. And then you go on the internet and you find all those YouTubers telling you to learn effortlessly the lazy way, comprehensible input, watch YouTube videos, blah, blah, blah. Which is great for your comprehension, yeah, but it won't do much for your speaking. If your accent's terrible, okay, watching thousands of hours of YouTube videos and listening to podcasts will help your accent somewhat. But if you're too shy to speak, the most likely scenario is that you'll understand the language much better after developing the habit of listening to English regularly. You'll probably increase your vocabulary, your comprehension will improve. You might be able to say a little bit more, but you still struggle to speak because you haven't practiced your speaking. In order to get good at something, you need to train that specific skill. You can't get good at swimming without getting in the pool. Does that make sense? So if you want to get good at speaking English or any other language, the first thing you need to do is to start speaking every single day. The main problem, the main challenge for most people is that they either don't have access to native speakers, so you don't have anyone to speak with. That was my case back in the day. Didn't have anyone to speak with. Or also, if you have people to speak with, you're way too shy to try to speak with them, and you try, say a couple of phrases, and then it's just too difficult, too embarrassing, there's too much friction, and you stop. And maybe you try again in a week, and you keep doing that. You always quit quite fast because it's just way too uncomfortable. That's also the case. This is the case for a lot of people, by the way, who move to the country and then try to learn by speaking to people, but every time they try to speak is way too difficult, way too embarrassing, and they just stop and then try again the next day. But again, they manage to say 2-3 sentences and back to the drawing board. And this is something that you will keep doing for years and never improve much if you try to learn this way. So my alternative, the solution to this, is to instead train your speaking skills on your own. You see, speaking is pretty simple. Once you know the vocabulary and you have a general idea of what the pronunciation and grammar are like, you know more or less how everything works. You just need to put it all together and be able to say it with the least amount of mistakes possible and with decent pronunciation. Once you know how everything should sound, you simply have to practice. So the best thing you can do is start on your own. So basically you need 2 types of exercises. The first one is very simple, listening and repeating. This is for pronunciation. This will help with fluency as well if you're repeating complete sentences aloud, but it's especially useful for pronunciation. Listen to complete sentences and repeat after. Try to sound as close as possible to native speaker audio. You repeat the sentence, trying to imitate the natural accent, the pronunciation, the rhythm of the language, the intonation, everything. Yeah, you basically have to mimic native speakers. And you do this 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever, until you sound not maybe like a native speaker, but until you sound pretty good. And the second thing you need to do is retrieval practice with instant feedback. This means getting sentences in your own language and translating them in the target language with instant feedback, which means you're translating, so you're thinking in the target language, in English in this case, you're saying it aloud, so you're practicing saying things aloud, developing muscle memory there, you're getting used to saying things in English all the time, and you're getting immediate feedback, so if you make mistakes, you get corrected instantly and you repeat the sentence aloud correctly this time. And with spaced repetition, keep doing this over and over again, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. I would recommend an hour a day of this, honestly. It's hard work, but it's definitely worth it. It's the best use of your time if you're trying to learn a language fast. By doing this daily, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, I recommend doing a lot more, half an hour, 1 hour a day maybe, because this is the most effective exercise you can do to improve your speaking skills in any language, but especially in a language like English, where you have a lot of vocabulary and you understand the language very well. If you want to activate that vocabulary and improve your speaking skills, you need to do this every day. Starting with your language islands and then following with lists of vocabulary and grammar, with example exercises, thousands of sentences. You translate from your language into English and get immediate feedback. Always aloud, so you're working on your speaking skills, always trying to sound as close as possible to a native speaker, and always paying attention to the immediate feedback you're getting. This way, you're learning to think in the language. You're massively increasing your active vocabulary, not only the passive one, not only your ability to understand, but also your ability to use those words in conversation, and you're getting feedback, so you're getting correct. This is the most important exercise. This, and listening and repeating. You do these two exercises, and your speaking will get way better very quickly. But you have to do them every day. If you don't do this, and you're looking for the lazy way, the effortless way, blah, 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 you will always speak badly. It doesn't matter how long, how many hours of comprehensible input, you will always struggle to speak unless you practice your speaking. So this is my advice. If you want to improve your spoken English, start training your speaking skills daily.